All right, brother.
All right. Okay, so we should be recording. So peace.
What's good, brother?
Yeah, good. For those who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself.
Uh, Tony McGregor from New Jersey, representing New Jersey, New York, tri-state, metropolitan area, East Coast,
Okay.
whatever. Dancing.
Okay. So we got a little bit of pause. Okay. Yeah, legendary right now. A lot of the youth know who you are. They know what you know what I mean? They've
Appreciate
seen
that.
you. Yeah. You've been in a lot of dance battles. You enter in dance battles, which I definitely salute you for, man. And it helps inspire me, man, too. Also to keep doing what I'm doing, and a lot you inspire a lot of people too, man. So I put a post out. I was like, yeah, I gotta now. I'm ready. I focus in on New York. I done went to Boston a little bit, which is you know they had a scene in Boston. But I said, let me go back to the
Right,
roots, which is Jersey, right? So now, and it just so happened you hit me up,
right.
man. And it's a beautiful thing. That's how things connect right now. And this is my first Jersey interview. Well, you know, of course I've interviewed other cats, but this is my going back to Jersey. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
want to
yeah, right.
definitely ask you, man. Just to start off, let's tackle the big question. Let's get the big animal out the way first. Let's get the big one out the way. Let's talk about Jesse DeBoo. We're going to talk about the little small ones later, but let's just talk about Jesse DeBoo because that's very important right now for the listeners. You
Okay.
had something about Jesse
Yeah.
DeBoo that you had some things you wanted to say, and I'm quite sure. And for those who don't know, you haven't done a lot of interviews, so it's not that you've done a lot of
No.
interviews. And so this is it's gonna be some real talk right now. You had said something about Jesse DeBoo. I wanted you to elaborate on what your feelings were from a
Yeah,
Jersey
man.
point of view of what was going on with Jesse DeBoo, and you know what I mean, some things you might have wanted to talk about that maybe didn't get heard or got heard the wrong way and misinterpreted, and you wanted to make sure clear it up to make sure it's straight for everybody.
80. All right. Good points. Good points. The environment. You actually spreading what you feel is a part of the culture, which is a small part of it in the battling aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that is very dope that people are selected to go and visit these places and to see different cultures, try different foods. So I love the fact that Bruce actually took that and took it across the world because not everybody has access to traveling or even seeing places and different things of that nature. So I appreciate that. Um, some of the bad points are people get in a position of authority. Some of them misuse the judgment. Maybe they don't feel it's a misuse of it,
Yeah.
but I think coming and part of it, but then also giving you the spectator side of it.
Right.
Because every time you look at a situation, it's always another side. It's never just one sided.
Mm-hmm.
So, from a spectator's point, a lot of the contestants feel like it is an unfair advantage to the European because it is an event that started in Europe, and I think it was influenced by things that were on the East Coast, just as everything basically is coming from the East Coast or just this side of the world, so to speak. I mean, you have West Coast as well, with things being taken from the West Coast as well, but just
Mm-hmm.
the United States as a whole front. And us looking at it and, kind of thinking, well, why doesn't our government take the time to invest in us?
Yeah, in the community
Just
like they do here with the youth centers
right,
and stuff like that, and geared toward
right.
certain events. Yeah, yeah. I understand exactly.
So this is the good part. the bad part, you know.
Yeah.
Um, for me, and looking at it from the outside, again, it was an honor to be able to be selected to go places.
Right.
But a lot of young dancers don't realize that there's a lot of pressure on you as a judge. You have to be or attempt to be fair. You have to have an idea of what you're talking about because there are people probably in that position that may not really understand or know what they're talking about. They
Right.
just won a few competitions and it may be the hype. So then you have the business part of it where someone has won and the popularity skyrocketed. So they got that position. Do you earn
Yeah.
it? Should you earn it? And if so, how and why did you earn that? So I think that it has its good points, bad points, but again, that's to whom receives or distributes the decisions
Hmm.
and takes the information in. So you know,
Okay. How important do you think the battles are to for I'm gonna say it like this. I was their generation, the generation like the Zanzibar generation, the Shelter, Kilimanjaro, and we're gonna say Garage. We'll stop at the Garage. How important is the battles for our generation, for us looking at into knowing that a lot of the steps came from the creation of that time, that time frame of you know what I mean, hip hop, house, you know what I mean? Just,
mm,
you know,
mm,
mixing in the dances. We had talked about that a little earlier, how the combinations, how the mixing of the dance, how we were able to, you know what I mean? Why are the battles so important for our generation, you think, of dancers?
the younger dancers in
Younger dancers
particular.
too. I mean,
Oh,
even for us, for all of us. And yeah, because I don't want to be exclusive. You know, where I'm excluding
okay.
people. I want to make sure I'm inclusive,
Uh,
where we're including
right,
everybody. And for us
right.
particularly, I'm just actually throwing a point at like you from your generation. How important are the battles to our generation? You know what I mean? Of dance.
Well, with us, it was more personal. We didn't even really consider like oh, I'm gonna battle. I'm gonna, if it was like that, it was more like, yo, what's up with this guy? Yeah, he has a problem with you. Yeah, all right. Well, we're gonna handle it tonight.
Yeah.
That was something that was more personal.
Hmm.
Now, even in the competitions, when we battle against a lot of the contestants, we don't have any ill feelings toward them. So you don't even get to see us at our top level. It
Yeah.
has to be some type of challenge.
Right.
Um, it's almost like trying to say to a kid um, at 5 years old, yeah, I want you to outrun your dad. You know what I'm saying? Because you got
Yeah.
guys who've been doing this club thing for over 30, 50
Hmm.
plus years, and now you got a guy that's 22 years old, and he's might have only been doing it for 5 years,
Yeah.
but he may be talented. You know,
Or the
um,
energy, like a lot of dancers, what happened was what I've seen with a lot of the battles is like you'll catch a dancer, he'll be very energetic, but it's just like he's not hitting nothing, just like not moving you. You can see his energy moving, but
right,
everything he's doing is not moving you. You know what I mean?
right, because
And
he doesn't really understand the control or in which the music is directing you. The music is basically a conductor, and you are the instrument. You become it. So a lot of times that's not happening. It's just blow up moves, crowd pleasing, antics, um, a lot of energy, and you should have that at 20 plus years old.
right,
You know, 40 and 50 is a little different. Now your actions have purpose. So everything you do is is calculated precisely, and you have a structure. Nothing against raw energy because sometimes that comes out. But if you look at the older generation, they don't really care about battling. They want to party, man, and have
yeah,
fun
yeah,
and be free. So it's like that's like it's just the beginning stages of it. All of us go through the phase where the parent is saying left and you're saying no, I want to go right. And
Right.
sometimes you got to sneak and do that. You can't just do it in their faces. So it's almost similar to what's happening in the battle world. You know, you have the OGs just watching and admiring, and then you have some who look and they go, okay, that's nice. You know, they want
Yeah.
to share spiritually, verbally,
Mm-hmm.
and to lead by example. And if you ever watched a lot of them, they are not talking about battling.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're okay. So we're telling the youth right now that it's not about the battles, right?
Right, right,
And that's not the main important thing. But now it's here, and we do have names. We do know people like Capella and
mm,
Mamson and Babson because of the battles, and a lot of
right.
even some of our people that are in the like you said, some people are checking it out like, yeah, it's cool, it's whatever, and then some people are like, wow, it's very interesting what they're doing. But then you also
Right,
got looking like, okay, they know the name. You'll catch somebody who knows their name, which is dope. You know what I mean?
right, 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 right.
So the battles brought that to their attention. Say, okay, now we got somebody like Babson that the community actually knows, and a lot of people don't know how deep the community is with the underground house. They think it's one sort of kind of way, and they don't know how deep rooted it is. You know what I mean?
Many different outlooks, many different depths, many different levels. Even in some of the names you just mentioned, right? If you look 5 years back, 10 years back, you know, you saw them every time you saw a battle.
Yeah,
But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. As you mature, that stuff doesn't mean anything.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's like that with them now. Yeah, they
That's
taking
that
it like that now.
right. So at one point in time, we were the bad guys. Oh, those guys, those guys, those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and now they're in the same seat we've been in for a long time, which is just
yeah,
to really
man.
show, share, and educate. That's it.
Yeah,
Show, share, and educate.
woo. And you know what, man? It's so funny because now we're gonna get a little bit deeper, man. Let's just go in, man. A lot of them older dancers hated the fact that Ijo was going over to Japan, and see, people don't know that they was hate the older generation. Someone was hating, man. I heard them in the club was like, "Yo," they was mad about Ijo going over to Japan and teaching. You know what I mean? It was
Right.
taking the culture and twisting it up. And see, a lot of people don't know that, man. You know what I mean? And
Well,
that's,
a lot of people from other places have taken, and they have twisted it around. I mean, if you look at anything from a historical standpoint, all of it has been taken and switched around. So it's nothing new under the sun.
right,
It's
right.
been happening. You know, the sad part is you can run and hide, but you can't hide from yourself. So you know where you got it from.
Yeah,
At that time, you got to look at our situation. Ejo was going there. We were all going to Japan. You know why? Because they were the ones to lay out the red carpet.
yeah, yeah. First ones, yeah.
They get,
And
they
that
gave
big,
us
big,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, and that bigger form. But a lot of people were jealous, man. A lot of cats were jealous, man. A lot of the older cats were jealous, and I thought that was kind of messed up. Even at the time, I said, "Wow, that's great. That means they actually spreading this culture." And it was more so the music they loved, of course, you know what I mean. But it's the dance that we were doing that they loved the most, man. That's what got
Well, a
them in.
lot of them,
It's there.
a lot.
The dance is the thing that's grabbed them and said, "Yo, whatever they doing with that, that's dope right there. Bring it over here." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, a
So
lot of them, you got to understand it was past their time. And when I say past their time, I don't mean like you're washed up. What I'm
yeah,
saying is this was something that we didn't even know was going to take place, where we would be flown, people would fly in. You got to understand something. People were coming in and they knew me, and I never saw them a day in my life. Next thing I know, we're all going to eat, and the person or a group of people are like, "Can we go too?" And I was very guarded with myself. I was really like, "I don't know you,"
yeah,
because I'm a street cat. I'm a street cat. So every time I say, "Nah, you cool," I get stabbed in the back. So my mentality carried over. So, again, we were all from hip hop. We were all in that ruffian 85 where they'll take your belt buckle, they'll take your Shelto Adidas, your Space Invader, Scully, your
Yep, yep,
bomber, so
everything.
now you got a dance where if somebody copied or mimicked your movement, you would approach them and say, "Yo, you're biting. Don't do my movement." And
Yeah, yeah,
now it was like almost like a fight, kind of
yeah,
your group against
yeah.
their group. So that's where our battling came from. It was personal. A lot of times we had talent shows, so you would just get your group, and everybody would perform, kind of, and then you would either win first, second, or third, or you
Yeah, yeah. I
say
remember.
you did a good job, you did a good job.
Yeah,
So it was just that, man. I
yeah, it
don't
was
know. It's really hard to say because you start looking at the comment I made earlier, and I said it was kind of like their time was over. It was more like our time now. We're physical. We've done everything through just being able to display it.
right,
But now look at the millennials. They get on a computer. So now, if you really look at technology, it's kind of past us where we only do enough just to keep up. But they can film, they can DJ, they can dance, they can hold events. And again, a lot of it is because they watched, they learned, and they executed. We were
right.
busy executing because
Yeah, absolutely.
really we weren't really from that. We just wanted to party, man. We watched our parents, uncles, aunts get down, and we just followed the same thing. We just did it a little different. We changed it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with us wanting to be like I say part jumping into like the music videos. You know what I mean? MTV, the grind came around, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
in
yeah.
tri-state area, which we're gonna include Connecticut because I don't want to forget Connecticut no more.
Don't
Because
don't.
Connecticut, gotta keep Connecticut. The tri-state area, a lot of that is getting with a singer or MC and performing. Maybe getting
Right,
your crew, and then your crew is part of it. You know what I mean? And that was basically, like you said, that was basically a lot of the battles, and a lot of this our real what we're trying to actually do is just get in front of the camera. So I think we're the first ones that understood that more so than the generation before us
right,
that we had it. We got the beginnings of what it is we see in today. Where you can grab a
right.
camera because if Shannon, which way Shaw had a camera back then, and he was recording inside Faisal's, which a place I'd never even went to, but I heard about it. I just never went. And we have it. He's able to upload it on YouTube for a whole nother generation to see it. Like you said, the laptop generation and stuff like that, how they can easily access whatever they want to do. So it's just, I think that's one of the things that's why we had our time is a little bit different and how we can still survive even today within this time and have relevance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know,
It was Shaness. Shaness was the one that started to do that. Then
yeah.
Brian, he started to do it, and then we would be in a club or clubs, and you kind of would see a Japanese presence, and they would have book bags or something like a book bag, and the camera would be like here.
And I seen them, man,
So
but I never knew. I thought they were just watching, man. I always thought, why are they watching so much? When I was up in the shelter, I was going to the shelter, and and like I guess the last year before they closed up, the one shelter before they closed up, before Giuliani really came and messed everything up.
which one? Which one? It was it was a lot of shelters.
Okay,
Which
so the one right off, not too far from Canal Street, the first one, the one
okay,
we had to go down.
Hudson.
Yeah, Hudson.
Hudson.
Yeah,
Huge.
Hudson.
Yeah.
That one right there. Before they closed that one down. Well, and it
Yeah.
got real. Actually, it got kind of lame too because once Giuliani, changed up the smoking law, it messed everything up anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that. I think I seen them down there, but I never knew. I always thought they were just watching, just looking. You know what I mean? I never really
No,
paid.
they were studying, and you know, that's what I was saying. They were studying, and at that time, we started having frequent flyer miles to Japan. You know,
Yeah,
we were constantly in and out of
yeah,
there. You know, it was a
yep,
beautiful thing. I mean, I loved it. I was like, wow. Like I couldn't imagine. I always wanted to be successful being a dancer, and like you
right.
stated earlier, that was through the videos, the Club MTV shows, and you know, Yo MTV Raps and Rap City. You know, we had the exposure from that. But back then, when they did videos of us, you would get a 2 second hit. There he is. Oh, oh, rewind it. You know, on VHS, you're trying to
Oh, okay,
capture
yeah, 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 yeah.
where you are. There I was, right there. Right, wait. And now it's like a blur of your face because they didn't really give you mad camera time. So it was like whoop whoop. But you on your resume, you'd have it. Whitney
Yeah, you have it on your
Houston,
resume. That's right.
you know, God rest her soul. You would have, you know, Chill Rob G from the Flavor Unit. You would have EPMD. You would have, you know, you would have all that stuff. KRS, Dougie Fresh. You would have all of the stuff on your resume, and people kind of would see you and know who you were because every party or every event, you guys were the center of attention, right in that center circle. That circle right there. Everybody knew
Yeah,
who those guys were. So it goes back to what I said earlier. I would hang out, lead, and then everybody would go, yo, we're going to eat. And now I got like 50 people I never seen before. Like Tony, hey Tony. And I'm like,
yeah,
who are
man.
these people?
So, when was the first time you went out to Japan?
I actually went out, the first time I went out was 1997.
1997. Wow.
Yeah. And those guys was already gone before that. Pete,
Yeah,
Kaheem, Khalif, they were
yeah, yeah. They
Shan,
was already
they
out
were already, yeah,
there.
Ejo, they were already there. Sekou, Link, they were like hoop, stretch. They were all like you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I remember. I remember the transition time. I remember that time, man, when it was going out there.
Yeah.
It was just big. It was a
Yeah,
lot
man.
of talk. It was a lot of talk in the club back then that there was. That's why I said it was also a lot of older cats was like, yo, I'm not happy. Why they going out there spreading the culture like that? A lot of jealousy around there too, bro. You don't know,
But you
man.
gotta think, man, we
When you
were the
sit in the
youth,
club, you hear that stuff, man. People don't know. People be talking, man. It's just,
we were the youth connected to the youth. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, at that time, we were in our late 20s. So now you talking, you know, early to late 20s. And the people that were coming around, they were kind of like in the 20s as well. So you know, we could communicate with each other more so.
yeah.
And um, even now, you kind of see traces of that. So you'll have a dancer that might win a battle that's 25, and you might have me. But just because the kids feel that they can relate more to this 25-year-old, regardless of my experience, regardless of the information I may have, they'll pick him to come to their country because
Oh
they
yeah.
feel, I guess, they can relate.
Yeah, which is that should yeah, yeah. And that's
So
what
I
something
understand.
yeah, so that was something even Mike Euphoria was talking about. He was saying that how they should break it down is like if you come from if you just want a battle, when I call you in to the studio to teach my students or the people who I got that's in my studio, then it should be like it should be known what I'm there for. Like I'm there because I want a battle.
Right.
Not I'm there because I'm there to teach. I'm there because I won this battle, and we want to know how did you win this battle, and not for them to give a workshop. You know what I mean? Which is crazy in itself. Which is
I mean, you could
a
segregate
lot
it
of sense to me,
and
man. Yeah,
you could segregate it and do it like that because they do. But think about this. I've been places and I get there, I'm a teacher, right? And I'm a judge. They'll have special guest people to battle. So it's like this person doesn't really have a class. They just brought them there to battle. Now, in some instances, they'll have those individuals teaching classes too. And if
yeah,
they're free and they don't have to judge, they'll enter the battle as well. So I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a little. Yeah, it's a
it's
little. Judge should be a
yeah,
judge. A judge should be a judge. If you did a battle, you did a battle. Not to do both. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But you probably been in
right.
some crazy, crazy battles. But those are promoters' issues. Promoters have issues. Those kind of crazy, insane issues. That's why when we did, me and my boy Kevin over here, he's from Jersey too, man. And
Mm,
yeah, over here in Germany, just in case so you don't know exactly where I'm at, but me and my partner Jers over here in Germany, we were like, okay, it, it's just crazy how the promoters are like. We went in on Funk the System. Oh no, not Funk the System, but Funkin' Styles. Me and my partner went in on Funkin' Styles. Pardon me, not Funk the System. Don't get it twisted out there.
right.
We went in on Styles because I like funk.
Yeah,
funk.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We went in on Funkin' Styles, man. We went hard on them because we didn't like their setup, and I think
Right.
I don't know if it rubbed the people wrong. OG happened to be one of the judges there. We just wasn't
Right.
happy, man, and we just wasn't happy at all of how to set up. They charged us like too much money to get in there, and then that they was originally was not going to have the house battle, and then they finally put the house battle in because it had so much of an uproar on Facebook, thanks to
Oh, we
OG
got to freeze.
and a lot of us, right? So then they put it up at the last minute, and then we
Mm,
get there. We was mad at OG because OG just voted what I was talking about earlier. He just voted for the guy with a lot of energy, but had no kind of like he connected with nothing. You know, dude had a lot
right.
of energy, but he just didn't get. I don't. He didn't get it. He passed up people who were very well
Right.
more nicer than that guy, and he just let them pass it up. So we were a
Right.
little about his judgment. We was thinking like, man, what's going on with this event, yo? Because at one time we went and it was just off the chain. It seemed like if the French guys ain't there, the party ain't hot. The battle is not hot. It just seems like that over here in Europe sometimes. You know, it was crazy, man.
Right.
It's a
Right.
disappointment. But it was just a lot of things, man. Question I got.
Shoot.
This is going to be another hot topic, touchy situation. I wanted to hear because we had a small chat earlier, and you touched on a lot of
Right.
things I wanted to ask you and get your perspective because I'm looking for a Jersey perspective right now.
Okay.
I was talking to Bravo, and this is just not to harp on him because I got a lot of respect for the brother, but I just want to make sure that we everything is clear, and we all have different ways on how we see things and how things are interpreted. From what you heard, the term
Right.
law. What do you think of that term law? Because it's one of those terms that is we've all heard it, right? The experienced
Yeah.
dancers have heard it before. Maybe the new dancers now are coming across the term law. But I want you to elaborate on what you see in that term law. How it applies to how does it apply to house at all? Um, just what's the relevance of it?
Well, when I see that or when I hear it, um, I think of floor movement in close intertwining between a male and a female. That's my, interpretation of it. There's a lot of older people than myself. Right now, I'm 50. I turned 50 in March, and I would hear them talk about it quite often. And the one who kind of encompasses that in our uh, generational group of individuals that came up around that 80s type of vibe. Ejo is the one that is closest to that outside
Right.
of
He's the
God
transition.
rest his God rest his soul, Voodoo. They
Yeah,
to
Voodoo
me,
Ray.
those
Yeah.
guys encompass that a lot. You know,
So can
these
it be taught? That's the question. Can it be taught?
yeah, yeah, of course it can be taught because I've heard. So there's if you really want to learn about it, and you could talk to Storenzo is one of the people.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing. I was talking to Bravo about it, and from his point of view, we're unable to use loft as a teaching, which makes no sense at all to me. That's why on one of my posts I put perplexity. I put perplexed because one
Right.
thing he says he described it to a T as a style. He said you
Right.
gotta have baby powder, baggy clothes, da 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 da. That is a description of a style. And then he says, nope, no one else can teach this. Which is the most this is the most craziest thing I've heard before. We know that it's freestyle. We always said freestyle dance. Like we had the conversation just hours before we having this one now. And we said we know
Right.
freestyle. When somebody asks us what we doing, we're gonna say freestyle. You
Right.
know? But then when we ask, if I see baby powder and I see you spinning, that's a loft move. You know, in my mind, I'm registered as ching ching a loft move, you know,
Right.
which is which he's saying, okay, he did a total description of lofting, but then says it's unteachable. It's not teachable because now you have to teach freestyle. So it's just the weirdest thing in the world for me, man. It just blows my mind because it's like a double,
Well,
like saying yes and no. And
see
when you
what
say
it is
yes and
is
no to a child, you know, it's confusing to a child. Yes or no. You have to say yes
it's
or no. If I'm your younger brother, then you have to tell me yes or no. You can't go yes, no, maybe.
it's open for interpretation because I had the same conversation with Frankie Thomas and Jeff Selby. This is
Yeah,
what was before Jeff Selby started to teach New Style Hustle.
right.
So they were questioning me about, you know, our collective, Mob Top. They said, so I don't understand how you guys can teach this because Jeff said, because it's a freestyle thing. This is something we all just came from and we started to do in the clubs, and there was no set way to do it. So what I told them was, you know, it's a shame that as a community, we can't take something that we've been doing in our homes or in with a group of people, organize it where you have terminology for it, and then package it to reissue it or to teach it or to show it. Why is it that me as a black male, I'm being questioned? But if you're from another part of the world, demographic or nationality, if you say it's something, nobody questions it.
Wow.
And when I said that to them, it was a pause. And I said, so does anyone question ballet? Do they say you can't teach that? Is that not a style of dance? Because if you see somebody and they say they're dancing like us, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to the floor, they're bending down, going in maybe Spider-Man motion where you're touching the floor, and they stand up and they hold their arms out and they go up on their toes and they spin. The first thing you're gonna think of is
LA.
power, right?
So
Nobody question, nobody questions that. Nobody disputes that. If you do a funny movement and your arms are this way, and you twist a certain way and you do this, they're gonna say, "Oh, it's some type of technical training." The next person is gonna say, "Oh, that's modern. That's from modern."
yeah, it's
But if we start to categorize things we see in house and we package it, or I say it, my brother's the first one to be like, "No, that's not what it was." But then you got a whole bunch of people that were there that witnessed you doing it and witnessed people from abroad, even people that are close in your proximity, taking what you did and regurgitating it in its own way. So if example jacking, right? Okay, because I have a lot of questions by people asking me about jacking because people attribute that style to me. So first things first, the records all said it. All the records back then were saying jack, jack. Somebody was saying jack something.
yeah.
So when you got into it, it was years later. Again, sometimes you see things in your face, you see them and you see them and you walk right past them. You don't understand. So at the time, we were still developing.
Yeah, check it out. I want to Funny, just so you know a little bit about me, so you know you're not talking to a total, you know, we're getting familiar with each other too, man. So this is a good thing,
Yes,
man, because this is some dirt. My father's from Chicago, Maywood,
yes,
Illinois, right directly outside
yes,
of Chicago. My mother's from around Asbury Park, Neptune area, New Jersey, right? Um,
yes.
I was born in Staten Island, New York. I was born up there in Staten Island, but I was raised in New Jersey. And I'm from the heart, Jersey. You know, I love New
Right,
York,
right, right, right,
from the heart, Jersey. You know what I mean? Born in New
right,
York,
right.
my heart is in Jersey. I happen to have both parts of the world at my age. I'm not 50 yet, but I give me like one more year and I'm up there. Um,
He said you up there?
yeah. Like, um, I'm not trying to, but during the time when house music was being done up in created in Chicago, you know, because we want to make sure we want to clear it up because we have to in a way. We have to make a
Yeah, yeah.
definitive line so people can understand what's going on. In Chicago, when they was creating the music of what we call house music, similar to the same style of the creation of hip hop. Run DMC King of Rock album, you could pin it around that era where they was
Right.
really fine tuning around King of Rock era. So for hip hop historians and everybody, it's gonna be around that time frame. But it was actually what I heard when I was happened to be living in Maywood going to school, and I happened to hear the boys in the neighborhood, you know, my fellas in the neighborhood was like, yeah, they making house music, and the whole concept then was like they was making it downstairs in the basement of their house. So me as a kid, I wasn't able to go to the club yet. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing was, okay, somebody's making music, this house music that we're hearing. And this is the funny thing, we're hearing it on the radio in the car because they didn't play that much hip hop in Chicago. So that's what something
Okay.
people gotta understand. House music they played because it reminded everybody of church. That means you could be sitting there eating chicken with your dad, your mom, your brother, you're eating chicken, and house music is playing on the car radio. So this is
Mm-hmm.
just making it. They're just starting to make this. So then
Mm-hmm.
fast forward a little bit, it's my graduation and I'm able to go out to the school. I mean, to the school to a graduation. And Jackie
Right.
was the dance that we wanted to do, you know, when we got to the place, because we all talked about it, because this is my first time going to the club in Chicago. And
Mm-hmm.
we going there to go jack on some girls. So
Mm-hmm.
you being from Jersey, you know what the jack is, because I know you've been to a lot of different clubs. And it's the same
Yeah.
concept. Chicago brought it to New Jersey. New Jersey took house and made it their own. You know what I mean? And shared that same love that Chicago had for house. That's why the two places, New Jersey and Chicago, have a very deep root in house music. Very deeply
r-
rooted in house
Right.
music. You
Right.
know, I
Right.
know that because Jungle Brothers, when Jungle Brothers re-released that "Girl I House You," for me it was an easy transition. You know what I mean? Because I
Mm-hmm.
had already been exposed to the house music. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
From the
Yeah,
Chicago.
I understand.
But the jack is the dance that you're doing inside the clubs that you not when you're not in New York. And you know what I mean? When you're in them side clubs.
Well, that on that on that note, if
And
you
it's funny,
update,
yeah, because I
if
and
you
we used to,
update it,
yeah,
they don't
yeah,
know about that.
yeah. We bouncing it a little bit different.
Yeah. They don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? I
So
mean, they
yeah,
should be learning about that because everybody's adults.
yo, look, I teach it. I'll be like this, like, yo, I do the jack, I'll do like the normal jack, and then I'll be like, yo, this is the Japanese jack where you take it from the high to the low, because I don't know how they reverse that jack, but they reverse it from the top to the bottom. I do the normal jack from the middle from the gut solar plex up to the chest, but then I show them the dance that we doing, you know, but I have to do it in the shadow motion. Usually I grab a wall or I grab like a
Okay.
if I see it, and then I show them how to do the jack.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you know, for the females, I have to be like, yo, you got to be easy with this, easy, because this is dangerous. A lot of people don't know, man. And that's why I was like, okay, Bravo also said, man, I wanted to also clear this up, man. I wanted to always get a good Jersey perspective because I'm in Jersey right now. Let me get back to
Yeah.
Jersey.
Okay.
We got a perspective how important the Jack is. Very important for New Jersey club scene. Maybe not important for New York club scene. That's what I wanted to tell Bravo too. I also spoke with him on that one step. I said, yeah, you're 100% right because I didn't really listen to his Jack thing, but I'm quite sure he's knocking the Jack, which
All
I
right,
got to
I'm
go
gonna get
back and
into
listen
that.
to. So yeah, but
I like that.
I have to say that he's right. If you're into a New York City club, Jack is not that important. But if you go into these outside clubs that Zanzibar, starting from the Zanzibar on out, you need to be able to Jack at least. You know what I mean? It's very important.
Well,
You know what I
well,
mean? To the dance.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say, on that one, it's important in New York as well. Uh, this
Yeah,
is the thing.
so I gotta say how because if we jack, but when you walked up into some of the clubs, I barely seen them jack, man, inside
But
this
listen,
shelter.
it depends on how you prefer to do your motion or your movement,
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so like I said, and I was getting ready to get you right with this,
Right.
how most people would ask, so you came up with a jacking style when it was um it was already noted and already firmly stated in Chicago. So I said what I was doing was different. You got to understand, it's similar but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about what you were talking about, which is the grown man stuff with the
Mm-hmm.
jacking.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I was doing was I was taking mental notes from my experience as a kid coming up with the hip hop and the popping aspect, where
Mm-hmm.
everything was like a stop. But because of the jacking, I realized that it was an added groove that was kind of missing. So if you look back around the time in the early 90s and late 80s, and
Mm-hmm.
you watched when we started to transfer from that hip hop all the time to like migrating between the two clubs where we would go to a hip hop club and house club. If you looked at any of the old footage, look at the footage and you'll see no jacking. All you're gonna see is footwork. Everybody's gonna be dancing, and this is gonna be still.
Right.
And what happened was during right after Sound Factory Bar, this was like around 93 to 96ish, 97ish.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still doing that footwork. I came in the club and I looked around, right? There were dudes that had been dancing for 2 or 3 years in. And I'm saying in the club. I don't know what they were doing at home. I'm just saying 2 or 3 years in. And I looked around. So around that time, we were all starting to talk about getting the party, which was House Dance Conference. So now that we're going into House Dance Conference, I'm watching how DJ Q would be in the room, Shan S would be in the room, and Pee Wee would be in the room, right? Me and maybe three other people. The rest of the people were in the hip hop and funk room.
Yeah.
It would be hundreds in there, but it would be 4 to 6 of us in the house room.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to converse with a lot of the younger people that were coming in, and there was really no groove added to the house. Again, it was more like footwork because see, there was styles. First, it was lofting, and then we started to mix the footwork styles with that. Again, it's a part of your makeup. It's a part of your style. You come in, you got your certain shoes on, your certain pants on, your energy's a certain way. You pour your powder down. Now everybody gravitates to that because they understand that. But you got the younger generation looking at you, going, "Why are they putting powder down?" Cracking jokes. And we got to go over to them and say, when you get a certain age, you're going to start to understand that this is an asset to you. It's like
Yeah.
oiling a machine.
Yeah.
You'll see. So they laugh because sometimes you go on the floor, it's concrete. You don't want to pound it because it's detrimental to the knees.
Yeah.
You got some floors that are very sticky, so you can't execute the smoothness or the rapid movement in your footwork. So you got to put powder down so that you can apply that. And at the same time, you have to have control over your body because not everybody can dance on powder. It's almost
Yeah.
similar to dancing with a pair of socks and no shoes.
Yeah.
So now we go to the jacking part. Once we did that, I started to actually sit back and look at some of the things that I was doing for martial arts, where I would make contact or hit and stop to
Hmm.
execute certain movements. And what it did for me was it actually made me realize that everything was connected in its entirety. The earth, period, everything
Yeah.
around it, in it, everything was connected. So when we dance, a lot of times we separate things. And it goes back to what we talked about with the ballet and you not being able to do lofting because it's a style, it's not a dance, and you can't teach that. If you can't teach what you're expressing, then what are you doing? That means you
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah.
You should be able to teach everything you can talk about
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
or demonstrate, or if you can't demonstrate it physically, you should be able to articulate it, write it, or explain it. And it's a big problem with religion because people say I'm a Christian, or you have people that say I'm a Muslim, and then when you ask them about certain things in Christianity, they want to fight. What happened to explaining it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be something to share. So the reason why I segued into all these different things is because there's a relationship. It's the same thing with dance. You have people who are older than us. When we get down, they're going, don't show them that. So they would isolate the younger generation. Don't show them that. Why? It's supposed to be something that you pass down and you share.
Right.
So now we go back into the jacking. And I just thought that me doing it and not really isolating any one particular style that I've ever studied or anything that I've ever attempted should be foreign. It should be comfortable. And I started to do certain movements where I would use the upper torso and jerk or stop in the motion, but continue a fluidity and a constant combination of foot patterns within
Yeah.
that. And it started to just be a groove where it's important. So
Yeah.
I'm more or less embracing and digesting the sound to regurgitate it
Yeah.
physically and
Yeah.
allow everything to move simultaneous, not to be stagnated in any type of way. And what happened was people started to say, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because again, you had everybody else just moving their feet. Nobody
Yeah.
was moving their upper body.
Yeah. It was stiff. I was stiff too when I started. I was definitely stiff. So upper body stiff,
So,
feet movement, few tricks and stuff like that. Not really like a
right,
groove. Only groove you get is like if you're fortunate enough, like I said, if you're fortunate enough to go outside of the normal typical clubs where you go into just the club that plays, you know, you happen to go to like a barish kind of club, like in, especially if you go like if you start going further south Jersey, stuff like that, you go to a barish kind of clubs where the girls come out and they dance with the guys. You know what I mean? So that's something different. Then further up north, when you know you go into certain clubs, then you know you're getting that different kind of groove, man. So I understand exactly what you mean, man.
yeah, and all I did was I took something that I internalized and felt
Hmm.
through the sound. Because remember, like I said earlier, I stated earlier, the music was the one giving me that. I didn't just listen to just one type of music. So you have dancers who are now teaching and they say, yeah, I love soulful house. Yeah, but it's 50 different types of house. How can you teach something and you only want to teach what you want to teach? Now, again, you can't tell somebody what to teach, but a lot of times people state that they're teaching a culture. Our culture is big, so you're selectively giving certain aspects, and you are as good as your students. So when you teach them a well-rounded base. I mean, this is what you're supposed to do. School, you don't go there and say, okay, I'm going to do 4 years at this high school, so I guess I only want history. And now, what happened to the math? What happened to the science? Where's the phys ed? Where's all the other intangibles? Where's the shop work where you start to learn a trade? It's the same process. So again, when I'm saying I looked at everything as a broader perspective, I started to understand. Don't separate. Use things that are useful. Use things that are useful because I can't do everything physically. So I have to start to take things that I can apply. And as I can apply them, I start to understand them because I dissect them and then I can teach. When you start to teach, you start understanding because now you got to slow things down. You can't just do it. You
Yeah.
know, people can see a movement and say, I got that. But if you say, yo, did you see what I did with the toes? It totally flies over their heads because they only see what they see.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
sometimes your eyes fool you.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was, it was the way I dressed, it was the energy I came in with, it was how I would stop and go with the music. And people were like, yo, that style is crazy. What is that? I was so confused as to how would I name this. So what
Yeah.
I said was, you know what? I'll call it jacking and I'll stomp. And what I did was, we were already doing a stomping step. We were already doing a few things that we were jacking with, but we wouldn't go past that. I
Yeah.
just started to stay within those realms where 4 months I would just only do everything I could possibly do with my body with jacking motion. Then
Yeah.
I would go play another track and it would turn another light bulb on. I would go over here and I would just only stomp to those tracks. And then I just started to mix the two. And I started to talk to Shah, which way? And I started to talk to Sekou. I talked to Brian, my boy Ron Paisley,
Mm-hmm.
Allison, Marge. We were all in the shelter all the time. And I would talk to them and say, yo, we should all go home and come back with something. And it should be something that pertains to this.
Yeah.
And what happened was, people just started to identify me with certain things. They started to exclude Sekou on one end, and they started to identify with Shah. And then Sekou stepped away, you know. So at that time, I started to progress in that. And as I started to progress and get more proficient, more people started to come into the house room. So when they came into the house room, I just said, you know what? In order for us to not cause confusion, we're just going to say it's jacking and it's stomping. Because now you can already associate that to what's in the scene instead of me trying to make up a whole entirely new style,
Right. Right.
which is the same thing that Ejo had to do.
Right.
He's doing floor motions. Basil was one of the brothers that welcomed us in. Louis Keys, they welcomed us in like we were like family. So
Right.
these guys were showing us. These guys would say, yo, what you guys are doing, I like it. Add this to that. And we started to add it. They didn't criticize us or talk in a negative way. We heard, like you heard, other elders say things like, forget that. I don't want to be a part of that. Forget them. Because they used to call us banshees. They used to call us all kind of names, man, as the younger generation coming in. And unlike a lot of them, we kind of embrace people and bring them in. But the
Yeah.
problem now is everybody wants to be top dog. So we bring them in, they follow, they get with us, they get as much as they can get, and right away they run and start another congregation up. And most cases, they're trying to belittle what we're doing when they're doing the same thing and
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah. And you know what? I seen and you know, this is a hot topic, man. It's going to be a hot topic, man. It's going to be a
Right,
hot topic. The older generation against the new generation, because it's like a never-ending cycle. It happens over and over and over again, and a lot of people don't know and don't understand how it really is detrimental to the growth of what we're doing. We're spreading art, and yeah, we know it's an industry too. We're aware of that. We're not dumb. You know what I mean? And
right,
that's what they got to
right,
understand. We're not dumb, and we see what's going on. And a lot of things don't, if it don't jive, it don't jive. And a lot of people think I was being like a certain kind of way when I'm speaking about the culture and the passion that I have for the culture. I have a very deep passion for this. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah, I
as
understand.
like yourself, and I can see in your style, man, how you rock. And Tony, man, by far none, one of the best Jack. That's why I posted you on my page. I was like, yo, look, think
Thank
that
you. Appreciate that.
God, bro, because I know the truth, man. And you know, and more important, even like you said, the way you dress, not even straight hip hop, which I love it, and it reminds me of somebody who I know. That's and it's familiarity, you know, when you come with it. So that was important to me also when I'm seeing you how you rock and present yourself. And when I'm talking, what I'm trying to say, man, is we got to get past this old versus this young thing, man, because
Yeah,
it's
man.
crazy, man, and we know what's going on. And you can't be like, yo, we don't know what's going on, and we do, man. So, and I'm a little upset about a lot of things. And like I said, I'm very perplexed. Like when you said Lofton, when he told me like, yo, you describe a style and then you're unable to talk and you're unable to teach it. I'm like, whatever. My mind is blown.
Well, we don't have enough information because we weren't from that era. We
No,
weren't
no,
in the
no.
club with those guys.
We
So,
definitely not.
so,
We
so,
definitely
so
not.
look, I'll give, I'll
Definitely not.
give, I'll give you that. You know what I mean? If you're saying that, yeah, I can give you that. But the thing is, we have people who can tell us and be
Yeah,
kind of
we got
close
YouTube.
to
You
what it is.
Storenzo pops up. The first person that pops, you type in Lofting, the first thing that pops up is Storenzo. If you're really searching for it,
Yeah.
and he named the Loft, and he even his name is even after the Loft Dancers. Their crew. Why is the crew? I think their crew name.
Crew.
Yeah, the crew is the Loft
It's a
Dancers.
crew. The crew is the
Yeah,
lofters. Like,
yeah, yeah. Stop playing, man. And then they was out there back in the day when breakdancers was breaking anyway. Storenzo's been back in the day, bro. So stop playing, man. It's
yeah,
just
man.
weird, man. So you're saying, okay, YouTube might have made a mistake. Whoever titled that video that they had on YouTube, okay, they made a mistake. They said Loft. I mean, that's the most you can give them but it's still gonna pop up Storenzo. You know what I mean? It's just confusing.
It's just what it is, again, you have people who sometimes they come in and they step away. If you notice in the comment I made earlier when I was talking about the jacking thing, Sekou stepped away for a while.
Yeah,
He stepped away for a while, he came back. I mean, I stepped away for a while. I went and trained, came back. I mean, Khalif stepped away for a while, left, came back. So in those periods, there's going to be certain things that may be profound that you might not have witnessed. But then there's going to be things where again we have perspectives. Now that could just be Bravo's perspective.
yeah,
Is it factual? It could be factual to him because he might really embrace and feel that that's something we can't teach. I'm not
Well,
going to
he
say
well
him.
he didn't totally 100% totally dismiss me from having a conversation about it. So like I said, I'm not
Okay.
mad at him 100% for that, and I definitely understand where he's coming from. Maybe to somebody that's new, but you can't tell me that you didn't put butter on the bread, and I clearly see there's butter on bread.
He said, "Oh man,
You just can't do that, man. You can't. Just that's why I
I
said,
mean,
Tony Bones hit me up. He said, "Yo, man, you got to stay up. You perplexed." I said, "Yeah, I couldn't tell you in one text how perplexed I am. I just something I have to have a conversation with you about the
I
perplexities of
mean,
this."
even in the scene, he's still my big brother, whether I
Yeah,
agree or
absolutely, man. Like I said,
or,
no
or
disrespect, man. We just talking, man.
yeah,
And we love you,
whether
bro.
I
Like if
disagree,
I see you, I'm gonna hug you, but you wildin', yo.
yeah. But like I said, we could be in the same room, me and you.
Yeah,
We could
yeah,
see the same thing over here. You could walk away, see something over there. I could stay right here. When somebody sits down and asks us, I could say this happened, and you could say no, this happened. And I could say yeah, but this happened. The thing is, you're gonna say yeah, that did happen. But when I was over here, this happened. I can't say nothing because you knew what happened because you went over there. Now,
yeah,
while you're over there, there's stuff happening here. So it becomes at some point a perspective on
yeah. That's right. And I
You know what
respect
I'm
I
saying?
respect everybody's perspective. So that's the most
Right,
important thing.
right,
Yo,
right, right. That
I want I got something else for you, and I want you to talk because
okay,
this now we got to go back to we're gonna move on. This is light work. We can
okay,
always do this again, man. We can talk again.
okay. Go ahead,
Um,
shoot.
let's talk about Jersey, man. A little bit more of that, man.
Oh yeah, I
What are the
love.
clubs? Zanzibar,
It
Sensation.
was it was Zans. It was Sensations.
Sensations,
Uh,
I was old enough to go to Sensations, but I was scared to go to Sensations because I don't think I had enough posse to go to Sensation. And North niggas is crazy, yo.
yo. It was one time I used to have my mother coming to pick me up, man. I used to go down there with like me, my man Jeffrey Johnson, and a few other people. And I used to go down there with my man Black. And Black, he used to have a squad. When I say the squad, he had the squad. I used to dance, Jeff dance. And back then we would get down in the hip hop circle, and then guys would just shove somebody into me.
Yeah.
So we would turn around, or I'm gonna say from my experience, I'd turn around and I'd look everybody like, because I was ready. I was just ready to throw down. It would be fucking 20, 30 dudes, excuse my French, but ready to lay it to me. And he would walk up and be like, nah, that's my man right there. No. And that would ease tension. So I had situations like that. Later to walk out of the club and I would be like, yo, where those guys from? They would say, yo, they from New York. And I would be like, oh, word. Once once I heard that, I already knew, uh-oh. Yo, where those guys from? Oh, they're from Patterson. Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
let me tell you, yo, they would run over people's cars, run over parked cars. You see 30, 40 guys running over parked cars, chasing 3 guys, 4 guys, 6 guys, 10 guys, hundreds of guys chasing them, running right past. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I would be like, whoa, turn around, whoa. And it was just crazy. But on a good note in there, the sound system was the best in the world. That was one
Yeah.
of the places you would walk out and your ears would be going, ooh, when you walked out. They had a house room where I got to see amazing artists perform, like again, Slick Rick, the Rakims, the KRS, the Big Daddy Kanes, Grace Jones,
Yeah.
like like some of everybody I think was performing there back then.
Yeah.
So
Yo,
that club was great. Sensations was great.
yeah, a lot of people, that's one of the more popular clubs. A lot of cats from Jersey back out there, they're going to know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Zanzibar.
man.
Zanzibar.
Okay.
Historical Zanzibar.
Zanzibar was at the time how I was going to the shelter. That's how Zanzibar was because they used to stay
Yeah.
open
Zanzibar was lit, man.
so late, and those were my days when I actually drank beer and alcohol. So a lot of times I would go there and I would be kind of toasted while I was getting down. But that was a great spot. I was so hurt when they closed it, man, because it was again just like Sensations. Those two were like the major spots to go to in Newark. And after those places were gone, we had to go up to Orange, East Orange, and we started to go to Scandals.
Oh yeah,
And
Scandals, man. Yeah, I heard about Scandals. I
yeah,
didn't get a chance to go to Scandals, but I heard about it. I think I had left by then. But Zanzibar, well, no, I actually, no, I didn't go. I started, you know what? I started hanging out more in New York then. That's what happened. I
yeah,
was like, I didn't go to Scandals. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna hang more in New York when Zanzibar closed down, man. And I was a little upset about that too. They turned it more into a hip hop night at first, and they even
yes,
changed the
yes,
name, right?
yeah.
They even
It was a
changed the
lot of
name and
clubs over
everything.
there.
So it was crazy, yo.
Yeah,
Turned it into a hip hop night. It just went real,
it once
real
those
left.
clubs.
Yeah, real left. I
Yeah,
was really,
then you had the Peppermint Lounge, which was almost like a Bentley's type of
yeah, I think
vibe.
I went to the Peppermint Lounge.
Went to the Peppermint.
What was it? Peppermint
Yeah,
Lounge wasn't it? Where was it at? Is it East Orange? Where was it at?
yeah, it was right on. I think that's Central Avenue.
Yeah, yeah,
I
okay.
think that's
Peppermint
Central
Lounge
Avenue.
was in East Orange. Yeah, yeah, I went to the
Yeah,
Peppermint Lounge. Been there.
yeah.
Been there.
I mean,
It was okay, man.
when you really wanted to get it in, if you didn't go to Sensations and Zans, it was Club 88.
Club 88, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That was that right there. That club was
The
was
one
good. But
by the by not too far from the train station, right? It was like a big building. It
Yeah, it
was
was
like
a big building.
it was a big building.
Big
You walked
building
like
by the
I
train
think I went to
station. Yeah, the
88 a
train
couple
station.
times. I think. Yeah, I think I've
Yeah,
been there a couple times.
the train was over there, and the highway was over
Yeah,
there,
in the
over that
back.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I remember that. Yeah, I was there. I went there a couple
yeah,
of times at 88. That was like
yeah,
afterwards, like after the
yeah,
Zans, right? I
yeah.
think I went there like 3 or 4 times, man. 3 or 4 times with the crew, with low
I
kids, man.
first
I
took
think.
I first took Barbara Tucker over there.
A word.
And then yeah, she came out after that. Her music started dropping, and she started, you know, shooting up the
Mm.
ladder, being dope, with her music and stuff. But yeah, I was like, yo, you need to come to Jersey and hang out with me, and come to the spot because through her, I used to get in a lot of stuff in Manhattan. We used to go to
Mhm.
Red Zone, Choice, Sound Factory,
Mhm.
uh, Tunnel, Save the Robots. And again, Save the Robots is one of those spots like we talked earlier. You got to be careful when you go there.
Yeah, you might get the wrong night.
Yeah, and then you had Mars.
Mars have
You
been
had
to, yeah.
you had the Underground. You had what else? What else? Nails.
Nails, yeah,
Uh,
hit nails.
Sound Factory and Sound Factory Bar, two different
Okay,
spots.
so now let's go back to this. This is the last one because we're on an hour, but like I said, we're gonna do
Okay.
this again. We're gonna have this chat again. But I wanted this last. It's a good story, and I want to make sure I got it cleared up for my own records because I always forget the two. One of them I wanted to forget on purpose. And it's a funny story. So
Yeah,
now the difference between Sound Factory and Sound Factory Bar, the one that's close to 34th Street. That's named. Which one was that named? The Sound Factory.
that was Sound Factory.
Sound
That
Factory.
was on
Sound Factory
27th
Bar is
Street.
further up the street, like 50 something or whatever around that area.
Lower.
42nd Street.
20. It was like 21st Street, somewhere around in there.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah. Sound
Well,
Factory Bar was around.
one of them was messed up because they played acid
That was
music.
yeah, that was Sound Factory.
Sound Factory.
Yeah. Sound
Okay, and Sound
Factory.
Factory Bar is the one that we all went to. I wanted to make sure the
Right.
normal. Okay. So now Sound Factory Bar and then
Yeah.
Sound Factory. Now here's
Right.
the funny story. So I'm in Jersey and I'm doing, I got a little side business going on in Jersey, right?
Didn't we
Nowadays
all? No.
it's being legalized, but had a little
Didn't
side
we
business
all?
going on. So I had a very good customer that was I had a very good customer that was at a hotel. He had a twin brother. It was funny. He kept coming over, and he come over. We do our business, whatever. And he said, "Yo, man, you got to come up with me to the club. I heard you like club music, yeah, house music. You got to come up to me to the Sound Factory." And I said, "Well, I don't know, man. I heard about the Sound Factory. I heard it's not the place to go to. I heard there's not a really, it's a little bit the it's not enough men to women on my ratio number, right?" He goes, "Nah, man. It'll be women there. It'll be da 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 da, right?" So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So I had to go. Like he kept bugging me to go up there. So one day I said, okay, well let me ask my man Quest. I think you know Quest. He used to bounce at the Zanzibar. You know Quest. So I said, Quest, man, yo, this kid keep asking me to go to Sound Factory, but from what I know, Sound Factory is where all the, no disrespect to my hashtag LGBTQ community plus and whatever, however many letters you guys got. But I was like, yo, it's a little hectic up there. He said, yeah, man, I don't know, but I'm not sure what night it is. I said, some nights it's this, some nights it's that. But I think it's pretty much the wrong night. You don't need to be going up there, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I go, wow, okay, so now I'm taking a chance. So now I don't know because Quest didn't give me a short answer. He gave me a 50-50 answer. So I get back down. I say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go up here to this club with you, man. He take me up to the club, man, and he says, "Yo, they're gonna be. You gotta stay away from the speakers because he's schooling me a little bit on it because I said I've never been here before. I've been to Sound Factory Bar, but I've never been to Sound Factory." He said, "Well, be careful. Don't go to the smoke machines. They might put a little acid up in the smoke machine." I said, "Whoa, I don't want to. We going to the limelight or what? What? I'm not ready for this." So, so we get up there, right? And
Yeah.
I got my blunt. I sit on stage. It was empty because we got there early, so it was cool. So it was empty. I see a couple over. I looked over to my right shoulder. I see a couple over there kissing. It was a guy and girl kissing. I'm rolling my blunt. I said, okay, this might not be so bad. Maybe I can get through this. You know what I mean? I'm rolling up my blunt and say, okay, I just got to get past the music because the music is a little techno house. It's getting more progressive house, a little different. So I said, okay, well,
Yeah.
let me take a nap. I done smoked me a blunt. I said, let me take a quick nap because I can do that because I can do that in shelter. Take a quick nap, smoke me a blunt, whatever. So I go to sleep. I wake up right when the music is boom, boom, boom. It's really thumping. DJ's moving. I wake up. I get up. I start walking around, and my mind start getting blown away. I'm like, what the hell is going on up here? I see a dude with big breasts.
Oh, I ain't see that up in there.
More than
Oh,
one, I went on a bad night, bro. I was like, yo, I sat down. I was so upset, man. And I was like, yo, what the hell they got me up in here doing, right? Because I ain't never seen
right,
this.
right,
Not
right,
even in the shelter, I've never seen this kind of shit. Just
right.
sit down. And the dude that came up there with us sits down right next to me. And another dude sits there. And then they start kissing. And then I'm like, what the? And then I'm looking at the dude that brought me up there. And I'm just sitting there. You can just see it. I'm just fuming. I'm pissed. Boy, we were on a car ride back home. I didn't say nothing to them dudes. And they dude didn't come over for a while to bother me. So it was
Oh
crazy,
man,
man. So,
I had some friends like that too. I had some friends. I brought them to a
uh,
spot, a couple spots, and the dudes was kissing, and they were like, ah. I said, listen, that's not what you went to, right? They said, no. I said, all right. What you into, you into it. The thing is, they're not into what you're into. So don't pay that any attention.
yeah,
Just go on your mission. Your mission is over there. You see her? Go over there, grab her,
yeah,
do what you got to do. Don't worry about that. Because when we came up, we was coming up again. We was coming up from this
yeah,
mentality,
yeah,
and we got to the door. You would see a guy with lipstick, eyelashes, blush or whatever you call it, blonde, long hair, high heels, painted toes, and we would be like, "What the heck is going on?" But he would also have a dude behind him that was 260 pounds of muscle that was his protection. And we started to acknowledge that these are the gatekeepers here. You can't go touch the barrier. If they don't like what you have on, you ain't getting in the club. So we started to get cool with them. And there was no problem. They respected us. We respected them. And when they saw us, they knew us as the kids that danced. And they would be like, oh, let those guys in. But this was years and years of, uh, you know, not being allowed in the clubs because at one point in time, they had all the best music, all the best
yeah. That's
parties,
right.
all our parties. You got to think about it, man. We go to a party, me and you, we go to the
Oh
party,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it's us. It's us now. We go to the party, boom, 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 boom. Party over. We got to get out.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
They have a party. They got food. They got drinks. They got good music. They got beautiful women, beautiful men for the women. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
you have a great time, and you go home. So I was like, oh, this is the
yeah,
shit
yeah.
right here.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. I
And
just went
and
to a
and like I
bad
said,
club.
yeah, at the time I think you weren't ready, and
No, no,
and
no.
and
Because the
they
shelter I
didn't
was
tell
ready
you.
for. No, no, it's different, Tony. The
They didn't
music
tell
sucked.
you.
No, no, the music sucked,
Right. That's what I'm
and the
saying. You
party
wasn't
was whack. Trust
you
me.
you wasn't ready. You woke up into a nightmare. You was like, what is this? You know what I'm saying?
But,
If the music
yo,
is
I
good,
can handle,
you
bro.
can
I
you
can
can go
handle the
like this.
shelter. The,
Yeah. You
the
could you could
shelter,
go
I can
like this
handle
if
that.
if the music is good, you'll be like this. But if the music is bad and that's all you got to look forward to, oh no, that's a bad night. That's a that's a bad night. You know what
The
I'm saying?
DJ, the music sucked, the atmosphere sucked, and I wanted to go home quick.
Yo, I understand, bro. I had a lot of
And
people.
I love my LGBT community, but I got nervous. I never seen that many men in titties before.
Well, shit. We went one night,
Yeah,
and me and my boy, the way we would do it, we would drink all day. Like if we knew we was gonna party that night, we would start around this time, and we would go get our beer and start. And we would buy so much beer, we had beer on the floor in his car. We would drive over to the city, and we walk up to the door because you got to realize some nights there was a consistent party, but then
Yeah.
they would have special nights sometimes. And if you didn't get the memo,
Yeah, yeah, you got it
you
wrong. You in the wrong night.
so you walk in and you're like, some places you're like, wow, because one of the guys that was at the door, his name was Kenny Kenny,
Uh-huh.
that used to dress up in the cross dressing way.
Uh-huh.
So you would walk up and you'd be like, well, he's not here tonight. So yeah, all right, but you toasted already. My boy would be blunted up. I would be drunk. So we walking up and they would be like $35. And you would pay the money and go in, and then you would go to the restroom, walk past all of that shit. And when you come out the restroom, you'd be like, yo, ain't no chicks. Where all the chicks at? And then you would see one chick and a dude kissing, and you'd be like, all right, where the rest of them? And then as you started to turn, you would see another woman with a woman. You would see a man with a man, and then you would say, is that a man and a woman? Or and then when you got close, you'd be like, oh, that's two men. And then you'd be like, oh shit, this is the wrong night. You know what I'm saying? And then as you go to the bar, the bartender would go, one of the girls would go, yeah, so you came in the wrong night, huh? And you'd be like, yeah, they didn't tell me at the front door. And they'd be like, yeah, this night is a special night. It was rented out. Your
Yeah.
party is on such and such street. And then you'd be like, okay. And now we would just leave out. And I mean, nobody would bother us, but
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ain't
yeah.
what we was
The
looking for.
community, the
You know what I'm saying?
community is lovely. It's just my. I love the community, man, because
Right, 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 right.
without the community, we couldn't have been able to do a lot of the things that we were able to do at parties.
We
So
we
it's
wasn't
definitely
doing
not a knock on
nothing
the
without them.
community. It's just
Right.
sometimes you got your flavor, and you have your flavor, and your flavor is just that's it. You got your Kool-Aid, and then you got like your maybe like 3 cups scoops of sugar. Some might like 10.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Some
just go
might
by
like
three.
10, some
I
might
can't
like the
go over
whole
three
cup.
cups.
Yeah.
Three
So
cups of
I
sugar too
understand.
much.
I understand. I went to the spot and that happened. And then I went to the spot, showed up at the door. And when I got to the door, they would go, nah, this is the wrong spot for you. And I
Yeah,
said, this is the wrong spot. And I've had somebody say, come with me, walk me in. And when I got in, all the men was in there with no shirts on. And I said, yeah, this is the
oh,
wrong spot. And I turned around and walked back out. Yeah. You know, I've man, why you- I'm just telling you experiences, man, that have happened, man. This has happened. You know, I'm telling you, man. I mean, we went in the club and it's been all of us getting down, and
yeah, yeah,
we was running the whole night until one song came on, and Willie Ninja, Princess, and all of them just took over the floor, and we
yeah,
all just sat down and
yeah,
watched
yeah.
them
You just
all
gotta
night
watch. Yeah, that's
after that.
right.
So
Yeah,
we were like, oh, God rest his soul. You know, we were like,
yeah.
whoa, you know what I'm
Yo,
saying? So
okay, and that opens up. Ooh, man, one more last question. I thought that was gonna be the last one, but you just opened up the door for the next one.
all
Um,
right, good. Shoot.
voguing, whacking. How important that? Because we seen all of that in the club. We seen
Well, I
every.
miss it, man.
We
I
seen
miss it. I mean,
everything. We seen ballet. We seen voguing, whacking,
that's
capoeira. We
well. See,
seen everything inside the club.
that's why I kind of like uh, events like JD, because that's a great point, and that's why I love like Summer Dance Forever, because those events encompass and embodies a lot of those things that we miss. Now, when I go out, you have a party that's called Afrobeat, and I'm like, huh? You know, and then you got a party over here where there's a Vogus ball. So I'm just like, okay. We had that, we had house, we had hip hop, we had funk. Everything was under one roof. So if you look at the way we dance and you look at the way the younger generation dances, it's the same, but it's a little different. And it's
Yeah,
because we had all of these different sounds along with the energy from these
yeah,
sounds to be influenced by.
yeah,
So there's certain things within what's happening that they don't quite understand yet because they're still trying to discover who they are as individuals. And
Yeah,
in your
that's right.
20s, you still don't know. You still, in your 30s, you still don't know. You don't really start knowing who you are until you get like 46, 47, and you start saying that, man, my life is almost over. So now everything is a little more crucial to you. Those earlier ages, you're just living and just doing stuff, and you're feeling invincible. So you don't have any regard for what someone is trying to say to you.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And it takes a serious illness, a serious situation like we're in, where you can't move. You have to be confined to a limited space. If a family member is sick and they pass away, you can't really embrace that situation with your family because of it. So now this is kind of like they're getting a hard lesson as we all are because of this situation.
Right.
And I just think that now, if you really think about everything, it's important that everything is together and not
Yeah.
not so separate, which is what I
Right.
was saying about the dance and everything in a full circle. Remember what I
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
earlier? I stepped away. I took martial arts. It gave me a whole new outlook on everything. Everything should be connected,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, then you have no use for those things. But whatever is good, you embrace it.
Yeah.
So I think that it should change back to how it was, where we had everything under one roof. Now it's a DJ, but he only is a house DJ. Before we had DJs that played every. Just look up all of the old stuff, and you'll see every kind of music: blues, funk, disco. They play jazz.
Reggae. Certain
Right,
reggae songs.
right. Certain reggae songs that people didn't even know was reggae. They thought it was a club track.
Especially that one cocaine running around my brain. Dun, 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 dun. Just stuff like that, man.
Yep.
Like stuff they played up inside the club, man. Just the DJ was very skilled, man. Well, you know, our DJs was we have very lucky. DJs are very underrated, man. Our New York DJs are very, very underrated. They got a lot of skills, man. They play all kinds of music. There's not too many places you go in America where we got a kind of a cultured DJs that we have in New York City and the tri-state area, Jersey, and
Yeah, true.
Connecticut.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Very true.
There's not a lot of DJs that have a catalog of music that they have inside their heads. So you know what I mean? So it's crazy. I don't think we give enough props to the DJs. But
Yeah, we don't.
we're on our last hour. We went a little bit over the times, which is cool. It's
Yeah.
it's all good. But we can do this again. Like I said, I want to let you give your parting words or goodbyes or what's up to anybody's. Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shout outs, whatever. And
Yeah. I just want to
message to
send
the youth out
everybody.
there, something positive for them. You know what I mean
Yeah, I
as well.
just want everybody to keep their heads up. Just try to be careful. To my people who are under stress financially, just try to hold up whatever you have in terms of your genius. Try to make it work for you. Understand that you have to survive in some form of fashion. So use your genius to allow that to happen, and take responsibility of this, because we have to pass it down at some point, and you have to take responsibility and do the same thing we did, whether you want to or not. I had some people say, it's not my job. No, it's your job. It's your job. Keep life living. It's your job, man. So this is the
Yeah,
same. This is life. This dance is life, man. When you dance, you feel the life in you, in your soul.
yeah.
You feel it. So, continue to spread that, man, and just stay safe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to thank you very much. This is the legendary Tony McGregor. I want to thank you very much for taking the
Thank you.
time to speak with me, man. It was an honor, man. And I love your
Anytime, man.
work, man. I love what you do, man. And I don't think this is the last time we're gonna have a conversation. So we definitely gonna
Thank
kick it again, man. We'll get a little Jersey grimy next time, man.
you.
We keeping it light on them today. They don't know we very light on them. But we see
Yes.
the butter on the bread, but we look at it, we treating it very light right now. So thank you,
Yeah,
man. It's
man.
an honor, man.
Yeah, it's
Peace.
an honor, man. Thanks for talking to me, man, and considering me.
Peace, man.
All right, brother. Peace.